So
Miss Lively, excuse me, I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right screen. I have the Winston-Salem homepage that I'm looking at.
that's it.
It is.
Yep, that's it. Yep. So
Okay.
you are in the right place. I'm starting at WSSU homepage, and the reason why I am doing that because I am going to log into Blackboard as well, but I wanted you all to see how to access our resources if you were not in Blackboard.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why you see the WSSU homepage. But
Okay.
before we get started, I know it says talking is Tiffany Before, but I'm using Dr. Before's GoToMeeting account, so that's why it has her name. But my name is Melinda Livas, and I am the Distance Services Librarian for CGO Kelly Library. And this presentation is just going to be a quick presentation just to refresh your memory about how to access some of the resources and to answer any questions that you may have. I know, I think some of you are graduating in May, so congratulations. And I know you are so excited to be done with the program. I applaud your efforts. That is awesome that you stuck with it. And then for those of you who are considering going to grad school and get your MSN, forge ahead. I think if you've already gotten the BSN under your belt, if you decide to do the MSN, that's perfect. So I am actually going to start here. I want to go to Google because I know Google is one of the places that you go to first when you do your search. I do want to show you two specific things in Google, and I will be checking my chat box just in case you have any questions. For those who can type it in the chat box, you can. And like I said, this is being recorded. So first, I know from looking at your syllabus, you all had to do or if you haven't done it yet, you will. You have to look at some information about chronic cardiovascular diseases from a global perspective. When you use Google, I want you to be very strategic about Google and be smart. So searching all of Google on this page, this is not the smartest way because you're going to pull in all kinds of information. First, we're going to go to Google Scholar, and all you have to do is just type in Google Scholar. Once you type in Google Scholar, you see you have Google Scholar, same searching interface. So this is what we're going to do. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to do Global Perspective for Chronic Cardiovascular Disease. Now, I know when you do your research, Google is the first place you go to, which is fine because I do the same thing. But I know I want you to be smart about it. So as you see, we do have some articles here that I've come across talking about the global perspective of chronic cardiovascular diseases. One thing I do like about Google Scholar, you can change your time frame, and I know most of you are aware that you can only go back as far as 5 years for your research, right? So if you only can go back 5 years, so here I'm just going to go since 2011, and these are some articles about a global perspective from cardiovascular disease. One thing I do like about Google Scholar is that it does tell you how many times an article has been cited. This could be really useful information when it's time for you to do your research and when you are ready to select some articles. Now, even though, for example, now this article has been cited 180 times, so that tells me this is a well-written, well-text article, and people have been using it. However, if you come across an article that has only been cited like this one 25 times, that don't negate using this article. It's just that people haven't had a chance to evaluate it and maybe look at it. But this looks like it is a pretty solid article that talks about a global perspective for cardiovascular disease. So while you're doing your searches, I do want you to be smart and to make sure that if you use Google the smart way and tell it what to go ahead and use Google Scholar. Google Scholar is like Google's version of peer-reviewed scholarly content, so that it's already been peer-reviewed for you. And if we have the article, you can search here for the full text. Now, the reason why this is coming up the way it is because I'm on campus. If you are at home, all you would have to do is select that button and then pull out some information like the name of the journal just to find out name of the journal, the volume, issue number, and then you can come to our databases and see if we have it. And let me show you what that looks like. For example, let's see, this journal is called Lancet. So let's say you were at home. Let me go back here. This is coming up, like I said, because I am on campus. But let's say I'm interested in this journal. Which one did I choose? I think I like this one. No, that wasn't the one we looked at. I think it was this one. So let's say I am interested in this journal. Because we have the proxy already set up and I'm on campus, I just hit that PDF full text, and that's why it automatically came up. Now let's say you're not on campus and you wanted this journal. The first thing we could do was actually just take a look and break it down piece by piece to see if we actually have this journal. So I'm going to see, let's take a look at what is the name of this journal. Let's take a look here, and then I want to show you how you can actually get it. So the name of this journal is called, looks like Progress in Cardiovascular Diseases. So I'm just going to cut and paste this. I'm going to come to our website. I'm going to come here to the quick links view. I'm going to scroll down to C.G. O'Kelly Library. And I'm going to come here to e-journals and e-books. And this lists all our journals and books, and I'm just going to cut and paste the name of that journal, and I just want to see what will happen. And you see, I know we have it because it just popped up. So it's in Science Direct. So that's how you can find, that's how you would be able to figure out if we actually do subscribe to a particular journal when you're off campus. Because like I'm still on campus, when I did the search, that's why it automatically connected us to those PDFs. But we do have that journal. So let me go back to Google. And let's get out of this. Let me go back to Google. So that was Google Scholar. So another Google search that I want you to remember, this one is called Google Advanced Search. And some of you may remember this one. So this is Google Advanced Search. The reason why I like Google Advanced Search, so think about this when you're doing your research. Google Advanced Search, you can tell Google what you want, and you can be very specific. So let's stick with the same topic. I don't want to cut and paste that. Hold on, I want to get that topic that we had before. Let me see if I can go back. Let's see what this, all right, so this is what I want. I want global perspective for chronic cardiovascular disease. So I'm going to cut and paste that. Let's go here to Google Advanced, and I'm going to pop that in there. So now I'm in Google Advanced Search. Let's scroll down. This is what I absolutely love about Google Advanced Search. It actually, you can tell it what site or domain you want to search in. So for site or domain, I'm talking about .gov, .com, .edu, .net, .org. For nursing researchers, I always highly recommend that you stick with two domains, .gov, which is government, or .edu for education. So let's say for the sake of this search, we're going to do .gov. Let's see, I already have it pretty formatted there. And another nice thing I love about Google Scholar, you can tell it what format. So I'm going to select the format. Let's scroll down here. Let's just take a look at PowerPoint. So what I'm looking for, global perspective for chronic cardiovascular disease. I want .gov. I want to see what government nursing researchers have shared with Google, and I want PowerPoint. So I'm going to hit Advanced Search. So let's see what we get. We may get something that may work for us, and we may not. It just depends. And I'm looking at this, and for PowerPoint, I don't see anything. So let's go back, and let's modify this search, and let's just do PDF. I know we're going to get something with PDF. And you take a look, it's in a PDF format. So one thing about PDF, you can open it and it's going to open nicely for you because it's already in the PDF format, which is easy to download. So I did want to review that. When you search Google, be smart about it. Do a very strategic search. Either use Google Scholar to start your search and use Google's advanced search. Tell it specifically what you want. So any questions so far about that? All right. So if you all don't have any questions about that, so let me make sure, because I want to remember this topic here. All right, so we have that. So now I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to go to our databases. One thing I do want to remind you, or at least show you, I am embedded into your global health class, and the purpose of that was so you could have a one-stop shopping experience. So all you had to do was get to your global health class, select the link that says Librarian's Corner, and then the research guide should pop up for nursing. All right, so let me sign in here. And let me get to just one. Let me get to one of the sections. Let's see here. So let's take a look at, let me get to global. Here we go. Let's take a look. Let's just do the WC. So I'm going to select WC. And as you can see on the left hand, let me turn the edit mode off. All right, so on the left hand side, this is where you see the information. So I'm going to select Librarian's Corner. And this is where I have some resources for Librarian's Corner. All right, so since you all are getting ready to graduate, the majority of you already know how Blackboard works. Even though you are graduating, I still would consider, if you get a chance, to look at the screencast about Google Drive. Google Drive is perfect for when you have to use collaborative tools. Let's say you're at work and you have to give some sort of a presentation to your boss, you and another person. Well, instead of creating a document, a tangible, a paper file, create it using Google Drive. And once you create it using Google Drive, you can share the document, you can upload it, and let me show you that really quickly so you can get a visual for it. So I'm going to log into my Google Drive, and when you go to Google, let me back up. It normally works well if the other person that's creating that you're going to be working with, if they also have a Google Drive account. It normally works better that way. So I'm going to, let's hit this button here. I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And let's use this one. All right, so let me sign into my Google Drive. All right, so this, you see I got a ton of stuff in Google Drive. So let's say I want to create a new document in Google Drive. All you have to do is come here to New, and I want to create a Word document. So I'm going to select Word document. I'm just going to cut and paste Global Perspective because I know I'm the project lead and this is the title that we are going to be working on. And as you see, Google Drive works very similarly to Microsoft Word. I want to change my font, make that a little larger. I want to center it. So I have my font, want to center it. I want to come here because I want to rename my document, and I'm going to say Global Doc. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. All right, so I have just added, I'm just going to add some text. Let me see here. I'm just going someplace where I can get, I'm going someplace where I can just get a whole bunch of text. Okay, I'm trying to get a whole, let's go here. I just want to get a whole bunch of text. All right, so let's see here. And let me get back to Google. I just want to cut and paste some text. Okay, so I have added my part. I am done with the part that I said I was going to do. So now it's time for me to share. One thing you'll notice, I'm going to add a nothing else. Pay attention to this. You see how it says all changes saved in Google Drive? Now I want you to watch that because I'm going to add something else. And you see it's saving. One thing about Google Drive, it saves automatically. So you don't have to worry about, oh, did it save? So now I'm ready to share my document. So I'm going to come here. And I always recommend that you get a shareable link, and you just select this button here, and this is the link. Now, this is what you have to be mindful with when using Google Drive. Anyone with this link can view, edit, or comment. Since you are working on a document, you need to make sure people can edit. So if they can edit, they can make changes, because if you have it so they can view a comment, then they won't be able to edit. Make sure they can edit. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to go, and now I'm done. So this is what I'm going to do. For anyone who actually has their computer up, I'm going to copy that link, put it in. I'm going to share it in the chat box. Anyone who's actually in front of a computer, if you will click on that link, once you click on that link, we're going to notice you can see emoticons up here, and we will be able to see you writing in real time. So I got a person already. So go ahead, Anonymous, and start typing. There you go. Go ahead and just start typing in the document once you get it open. I see several people have, yep, so you start, there you go. So you see how that works. And even though for those of you who are graduating in May, yes, so you see how you can see it in real time? This is wonderful moving forward when you have to do group projects at work. You're still going to have to do group projects and when you have to share content. And guess what? It is saving this in real time. So you can delete it, do whatever, it saves it in real time. So I absolutely love Google Drive, and I think you will too. So this is an application you can definitely use post-graduation in your workplace. So I think you're going to love Google Drive. So, and that's easy. That's all you have to do is share it once you share it. So now let's say I've done all the editing I'm going to do. I'm going to log out. So I'm just going to go to my Docs home. Now I named it. I'm going back to my Docs. I named it, and you see it's under here, Global Document. You see I have all kinds of nursing stuff in there. So whenever I go to my Google Docs, it's already there. And whatever changes everybody else has made in the document, I'll be able to see it. And then what you can do for the project manager or for whoever is going to make the final revisions, you can send a little note, I am editing, nobody makes any changes, and this is the final product. So I just wanted to show you that. So please keep Google Drive in mind, as you move forward. All right. All right, guys. So I'm going to log out of this one. And that's how Google Drive works. And I think you can do a lot with it. So let's close out of that. All right. So let's get back to Blackboard here. So I'm going to sign in. Any questions so far? All right, so I think we're good. All right, so this is the research guide. So this is the research guide. Okay, now I may need to get someone to mute. So okay, looks like we might be good. All right, so here's the research guide. And this is where, of course, you can get a good bit of your journals when you're doing your research. You all know I am partial to several databases. Let's take a look at ProQuest Nursing and Allied Health. And ProQuest Nursing and Allied Health is one of my favorite. Oh, I was trying to be smart and cut and paste the topic because I didn't want to retype it. But let me just go ahead and retype it. So we're going to do again global perspectives, right, on chronic cardiovascular. I was hoping it would pop up for me, but All right, so we'll work with this. I think that's right. Okay, so let's just do a search. And let's just see what we get. Now, I know it's going to pull on. Okay, so it did get some of the global. Now, one thing to remember with ProQuest, I do want full text, I want peer-reviewed, and I want scholarly. Remember, scholarly peer-reviewed content has been vetted to meet academic standards. So I know when I get scholarly peer-reviewed, it is content that has been written by professionals, and that's what you want. So I'm going to scroll down here because, of course, we know 1972 is just not going to cut it. So I'm just going to take my slider here, and I'm going to come all the way to 2010, and let's hit update. And the numbers did shrink a little bit. So I want them to shrink some more. So I'm going to do 2011, and of course, let's hit update, and let's see, it did shrink a little more. That is a very hot topic, so that's why we got so many hits. And one of the nice things about it, so if you preview, select the preview button, the abstract will pop up. And then that way you can figure out, okay, yes, this is an article I want or not. Let's say I am interested in, let's take a look at this one. Well, let's just find, I'm going to select this one. All right, so let's say we're interested in number 10. So I'm going to select number 10, and I'll do number 8. So I am interested in those articles. Of course, you can select email. I want to email them to myself. And of course, you all know that you are only dealing with APA. So this is my citation. However, I just want to make sure that that is the latest APA. And it is. I know it is. So I'm just going to check the bibliography box to make sure I get the latest citation. And I did. You just type in your email address. And remember, I always recommend that you use your Winston-Salem email address just in case, because sometimes if you don't use your WSSU email, you may have a problem with the persistent link that you're going to get to open the email. And I can walk you through and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to hit continue. And here's my email confirmation, so I know I'm good to go. And I should get a little ping down here momentarily that my email, that I did get that article. And let's say I'm interested in this article, but I only want to look at the citation. You can come up here and you could hit cite, and it will cite. And so these are the articles that I had selected, and these are my citations. And here is my non-reply request. I am hoping that while you guys are matriculating through the program, I hope you have had a chance to actually start saving some of the really good resources that you have found while you were doing your research and just put them in one place. And when I say one place, I mean maybe like one place on your folder, on your desktop, just creating a folder and adding all of your content here called, RN to BSN research, because you never know when you may need something in the future. So if you haven't done it, I do recommend the computer or laptop that you use, go ahead and start saving some of your items and just put them in one place, because you never know, you may decide to go back to grad school, or you may come across this article that you can use on the floor at work while you're working, so you never know. So I always like to remind students to do that. So let's get back here. Let's get back to where we were. All right, so we just looked at the citation for that particular article. And always remember, and you guys already know this, you do have to double check your citations, because APA is the citation of choice for nursing, and it's Times New Roman 12-point font. So I always walk students through this process. All right, so I'm going to cut and paste this, and let's open a Word document, and let's just pick this apart. And I know most of you know this, but I'm just going to do just a quick review. All right, so let's take a look at blank document. Let me drag this over here so we can take a look. All right, so I just cut and paste that citations, right, from that or from the articles. Yeah, from the articles. So this is my citation list, and I'm looking at it, and so far it looks like it's accurate. But you guys know you got to go in and clean it up. One of the cornerstones for APA, it has to be Times New Roman. So I need to clean that up. It needs to be Times New Roman. It needs to be 12-point font. All right, so we're good there. And remember that reference needs to be centered. And so this is my reference page, and whatever my title is, I need to also have a running head at the top. And normally what happens when you have your title, you have the word running head. And I'm going to show you an example just to refresh in your memory about that you're going to have your running head and then your title. And remember, your title is all caps, global perspective. And then, of course, you have your page number. And your page number for APA is always top right. But I am going to show you an example just as a quick refresher. And we're almost done here. I do want to make sure that you take a look at the margins, because remember, for APA, it has to be 1-inch margin, top, bottom, left, right, and it's already set on 1 inch, so I'm happy with that. And I'm looking through and looking at this. This citation does look accurate. I don't see any full capital letters, which is nice. Now, of course, you got to come in and clean it up. So, like, this should be capitalized. If I can type, this should be capitalized. So it's little things like that that I want you to remember as you're exiting the program. Now, the DOI, I'm glad we got these. These DOI, remember, stands for Digital Object Identifier. And what happens is, if I take this number, if I cut and paste this, put it in the browser, the article should pop up. That is something that vendors are doing more and more of. They're actually adding DOIs to the end of citations. So it would be easy for those of you who are doing research to just take that DOI number, put it in the browser so you can at least see the name of the abstract and the authors who published it. And we will test it out in a second. And one thing a student asked, if you come across an article that does not have a DOI at the end, it's okay. That does not mean something is wrong with the articles. It just means that that particular journal did not assign a DOI to that article. But as you're doing your research, I'm sure you've come across more and more articles will have a DOI at the end. And one thing to look at, there are no periods at the end of the DOI. There are no periods. So this, now I'm happy this page is cited correctly, minus, of course, the page number. And I'm going to open up another browser. I'm going to type in the DOI and let's see what we get. And here it is. So that's how, that is the purpose of the DOI. It just helps you to find the resources a whole lot faster. So I did just want to do a quick refresher for the citing. I'm going to close out of that. And so no, we don't need to save that. I want to close out of that, because if you use the citation tool, I say use it because these tools will save you some time. However, remember, you do have to go and clean it up like we just did. So this is just one database. I'm going to close out of that. Another favorite database, of course, I love is CINAHL. And the reason why I love CINAHL is because it is an EBSCO host database, but you can search multiple databases simultaneously with CINAHL. So let's say we can take a look at Health Business Elite. I always remind nursing students, don't forget to look at psych articles, because you can get really good information about behavior from psych articles. And don't forget about Health Source Consumer Edition and Health Source Nursing Edition. So I'm going to hit OK. I always recommend you do an advanced search because we can actually put in more searching parameters. I forgot that that was the last thing that I typed. You guys can probably figure out I'm a lazy typer. So let's do, I'm going to do global perspective. And I hate that they added this new feature. It doesn't allow you to get all your keywords in before it wants to start giving you results. All right, so we got global perspective. Or I know it's going to add, but that's fine. And let's do cardiovascular disease, right? So let's hit search again. All right, so this one is really not too bad. I mean, we did find, I saw this one in another database, but we did find some pretty decent articles. And of course, here, you just come over here. I'm going to put 211, hit enter, and that number should shrink. And look at that, it shrunk to 8. This database, of course, is a little different. If you scroll over the magnifying glass and the mouse, that's when your abstract will pop up, and that way you can figure out if this is an article or something that I want. If it is, you just click the folder button, and then you see how it populated to your folder on the right. Click the folder button. So when we are done searching, we're going to go and retrieve these articles. So I'm going to scroll up. We can go here to the folder, or you can actually come here to the folder view. But before I do that, let's take a look at one article, something that I always tell students to remember, and let's update. I want to look at one full text, and I'm going to go back to the others. Remember when you're doing your research, and I always want to remind students of this, please take the time to read the references. For whatever reason, nursing articles have a ton of references. And sometimes you can find an article that lends itself to your research that meets the time frame, meaning it was 5 years or less, and it's perfect for your research. And guess what? You can use that article for your research. That's the whole point of them listing their references. Of course, it's got to lend itself to what you're doing, but you can do that. So always take the time to look at the references. A lot of times students forget to look at the references. So make sure you do that. All right, so let's get back to our folder view. All right, so we may need to get someone to mute. Okay, so let's see. Hold on, guys. I may go. Okay, I think that may be it. All right, now, can you all still hear me? Okay, good. I just went in and muted a couple of mics. Okay, so just as long as you can still hear me, good. Okay, so let's say we've gotten our articles, and this one works just like the ProQuest one. I'm going to email, and remember you do your WSSU email, and let me show you when I was talking about those persistent links. Of course, we're going to do APA, and I'm going to hit send. You get your little email confirmation, but when I was referring to the persistent links, this is what I mean. Okay, hold on. I may have to go through. Okay, good. And mute some more. Let's see here. I'm just muting some mics. Hold on, guys, because I'm getting a lot of feedback. Okay. All right. So I think that did it. All right. So now let's go ahead and print, because I want you to see the persistent links. And here's APA, and you all are probably used to this, but I just want to do a quick review. So here are, let's cancel. So here are the persistent links. So when you click this link in your email, the article will populate. And then these are your citations. So, and if you use the citation tool, remember, just go through, clean it up like we did when we used ProQuest. You do have to go in and clean it up. All right, so any questions about that? Let's see, should the have been included? No. So now, but now here's my question, Teresa. Now, if you don't have to include the HTT, no, you don't have to have it if you're looking for the DOI. And then your citation, no, you just have it at the end of your citation just like that. Yeah, and remember, if you come across an article, for example, looks like all of these have a DOI. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If you come across an article that does not have a DOI, it's okay. So now, Teresa, did I answer your question, Teresa? You can talk if you want to.
Well, on the first citation you did, when you cleaned it up, the H was still in there, so I wondered if I had been doing something incorrect.
Okay, now hold on. Let me go through. I'm getting some feedback. Let me go in, and I think I did that. All right. Okay, guys, let me see. I'm going to go. Okay, I think I did. Okay, I think I got everybody. All right, now, Teresa, let me see. Let me make sure. So when I cleaned it up, and I'm going to do this. So, Teresa, tell me, what's your question again?
The first time you used the citations that was available in the first, and I'm not sure which search engine you were using there, but when you did the first citation and you said you had gone in and cleaned it up, you had left that part behind where it said DOI, so I thought perhaps I had been doing something incorrect in my citations.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I know what you're asking now, and let me show you why. We did ProQuest, so I'm going to just go back. I'm going to show you why. Now, if it pops up that way, then that you've been doing it right. So let's see here. I'm just going to select a couple of things, and let me go back to site. All right. So you see how as long as your citation includes all of this, yes, you're fine. So you have been doing it right. Now, let's say if I wanted to pull up the article and I didn't have access to the database, all I needed was the numbers to put it in the URL and it'll pop up. And you see it pops up like that. However, in your citation, oh no, not that one. When you open it, that is what it looks like. So no, you were doing it right, because when you get it populated through the tool, it will have HTTP. So that's fine. But I was just only showing an example of if I just wanted to see what that article was, I could just go ahead and pull out the numbers out of the DOI and then pop it into a browser and open it. So no, you were citing it. But believe me, Teresa, had you not been doing it that way, your professors would have, believe me, the nursing professors, they would have called you on it. But no, you've been doing it fine. You do have to have the HTTP in your DOI.
Okay, because I haven't, and nobody's called me on it. There's been inconsistency between different instructors.
Oh, I gotcha. But no, and you see, this is how it's going to look. So if you have been including the HTTP the way you got it from the citation, you're good to go. So no, you're good to go. So guys, any other questions about the citing and where to go? Now, before I do that, I do want you to remember that and I am embedded, like I said, this is in your shell for global health. If you just want to take a quick look at an example of a paper done in APA, this is where you would go. So as you see how I was playing around and I had the running head. The running head has to be, of course, on your first page. The title is capitalized. And remember, for citing, you have to have your page number top right. So I'm going to scroll down and let's look at subsequent pages. You just have the word, your title. You don't have to have running head anymore. And then, of course, your numbers top right. And you see the same thing. So I'm going to get all the way down because I want you to look at a reference page. And you see how the reference page is. You have your title, page numbers, references, not capitalized or anything, just centered, and it's Times New Roman, of course, and you see these are all, this is alphabetized. I did have a student that had a question. She was confused about alphabetizing the references. And I always tell students, you always go by the first name in the citation. Okay, so you never juxtapose, you don't have to juxtapose any of these names. Big chances are Cummings is probably the primary researcher for this article. That's why his name is first. Just as Underwood is the primary researcher for this article, that's why his name is before Finley. So, but you go by the last name in the article. That's how you alphabetize your reference page. So I just wanted to remind you of that. And if you have any questions also about APA, take a look at this Prezi presentation. I actually just revised it a little bit. This is a Prezi presentation that will walk you through and show you how to include an article, in-text citations, and how to have your in-text citations on your reference page. And it basically just goes through a couple of things, but I did want to show you something here. It looks like I got to go in and clean some things up. But I did want to see, oh yeah, so okay, this is what I want. I got to go back in and clean up some of those, make it make more sense. One thing I want you to remember as you're exiting the program with your citing, always remember, when you have one author in your in-text citation, you list just as it have here in your in-text citation, and you're going to list this in subsequent citations. You're just going to list his name and the year. So let's say you get to 2 authors. So this is in-text citations. You get to 2 authors. Your reference list is going to look like this. You got your 2 authors. It's going to be on your reference page. Your in-text citation, here's an example of what it looks like in your in-text citation. It's going to look like this. So in subsequent citings, you're still going to have both of their names because it's just 2 authors. So now when you get to 3 to 5, that's when it gets a little tricky. So take a look at this. All right. So 3 to 5 authors, and this looks like this citation has 1, 2, 3. So they have 3. If I'm looking, yes, so they have 3. So your reference list will look like this. So you have all 3 names, 1, 2, 3, and the year. So in your in-text citation, the first time you mention this article in your in-text citation, you list all 3 names: Hughes, Brestan, Val, and the year. However, in subsequent citations, you're still referring to this particular article. However, in 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th citation, you do not list all of their names. You list the last name, who's probably the primary, Hughes et al., and the year. So I have this in here so you can just remember when you get 3 to 5, it's just a little tricky. So now let's look at the next one. And I got to go back in and clean some stuff up, and I'm going to probably do that later on. So let's take a look at 6 to 7 authors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So when you get to 6 and 7 authors, you list them all in the reference page. This is what the reference page will look like. However, in your first citation, you do not list all of the authors in your first citation. You list the primary researcher, Phelps, et al., in the first citation and also subsequent citations. Because 6 or more, that's a lot of names. That is a lot of names to be placing in your in-text citation. So the 6 or 7 authors, you only list Phelps, the last name, et al. For all, the first citation and subsequent citations. Now, this is when it gets a little bit more tricky. Believe me, I have, and you guys have probably, while you matriculate in the program, you probably have come across authors, 10 plus authors for a nursing journal. So, if when you get to 8 or more authors, so let's count these. This one probably has, so this has probably maybe 10. So what happens when you get to 8 or more? Let's say this is about 10 authors. You're only going to list on the reference page 7 names. And let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is how that works. You list the first 6 authors in that citation. And then you list the very last name of the citation in your reference list. You're not going to list all 10 authors. You don't have to. And you have to use your ellipses because this is telling me that there are more than 8 authors for this article. You're only going to list 7, and that's going to start with the first 6, and the 7th name is the very last name in that citation. I mean, in that citation. Now, when you do your in-text citation, here we go with all these names. You don't have to list all of the names when you have 8 or more. You only do the last name, which is the primary researcher, Carter et al. In the year, and then subsequent citations the same, Carter et al. In the year. So remember to take a look at this as you're wrapping up and doing your research papers, because this is how you would cite 2 to 3 authors, 6 to 7 authors, 8 or more authors. APA is very particular about how they want you to cite. So I did just want to review that because I know sometimes students have a problem with that. And hopefully by the time you take a look at this, I will have gone in and cleaned this up. I guess it didn't like my additions, but I did want you to take a look at that because this is really important. So any questions, guys, about that part? All right. Okay, so good. I don't have any. Oh, okay, no problem. All right, so I'm going to exit out of that. And like I said, I'm going to go back in and make sure I clean that up. And let's get back in here. And, of course, we do have videos available. Do have videos to just help you. She talks about the DOI again, talks about the running head and heading sample pages, and the videos are not that long and they really are nicely done. So we try to make everything easy for you when it comes to citing. So now before I leave this, I did want to review a presentation tool with you that you might want to consider to use as you give your final presentations. So guys, any questions about some of the things that we went over? Okay, so if I don't have any questions, I'm going to close out of this. And let's exit out of that. We're going to close out. Well, actually, I'm going to need that. Let's close out of this. And always remember, the best way to contact me if you have any questions, the best way to contact me is just shoot me an email. I respond quicker to email because I'm always sitting in front of a computer. So shoot me an email if you have to contact me for any questions. So one of my favorite presentation tools that I do absolutely love, and this is something that you can consider using as after you graduate, when you're working, if you have to give a presentation at work, do a Prezi. Now, how many of you have heard of Prezi? And I'm gonna okay. All right. So if you have used Prezi, type in the chat box for me if you have used Prezi or if you have heard of Prezi. I know Keith says he's heard of Prezi. So guys, type in the chat box for me and let me know if you have either heard of Prezi or if you have used Prezi. Okay, some say no. Okay. The reason why I like Prezi to me is a presentation tool. It is cloud-based, which means if you lose your flash drive, God forbid, or something, you don't have to worry about it. As long as you have access to the internet, you can have access to your Prezi. Now, you can save a presentation offline if you need to and put it in a PDF, but that's kind of defeating the purpose of the Prezi, because one of the nice things, as you can see here, Prezi is a presentation tool that has a zooming functionality that allows you to actually zoom in and reiterate specific points of a project or a presentation. So I'm going to sign in here. And let's see here. This is the Prezi that we just went through that I need to go through and clean up. One of the nice things I do like about it, when you are done with your Prezi, it does give you a link where you can share it, and it also gives you an embed code where you can embed it in a blog. You can also embed it in a website if you choose to. So you can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things with Prezi. So I'm going to go into an edit mode, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to use Prezi, and then I'm going to open a blank Prezi and we're going to play around just briefly. So when you use Prezi, you will see over to the left, I got a lot of things I got to clean up. You'll see over to the left, this is my menu, and this is my path. When you talk about editing a path, this allows me to tell the presentation where I want to go and what order I want the presentation to flow in. Prezi has done a really good job of actually allowing you to insert all kinds of things. Like you can insert PowerPoints if you want to. You can insert a YouTube video, which is really nice. So let's just go through briefly. And these are some of the things that I have in that Prezi. So let me get to one that I need to clean up. All right. So for example, in order to just grab text, all you have to do, it works just like Word. You grab and you hold, and you can put it wherever you want to. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. One of the nice things, if you highlight, you can change the font. You can change the color. You don't have to stick with the colors that you actually get in the template, and we are going to look at that. You can edit your text. If I wanted that to, let's say, let me highlight it again. Let's say I want it to be a subtitle. I can make it a subtitle. And one of the nice things about Prezi, you can make it larger by using your items here. You can make it larger. You can make it smaller. I can also, if I wanted to, and I'm just clicking and dragging, if I wanted to add bullets, I can add bullets. And if you come up here, there is an undo button where you can undo everything that you just did. And it saves automatically for you. So you see how it is saving. So I'm just going to go in, and I'm just going to hit enter. I want to clean this one up just a little bit, and just walk you through that. Okay, so let's say for this I'm done and it's saved. So now I actually, and I'm not going to go through, I'm going to go to a blank one, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to start from a brand new Prezi that actually has no content. But I wanted you to see what a presentation looks like, and we kind of did that a little bit when we looked at the Prezi earlier. So let me go to your Prezis, and since this one wasn't the way I wanted it, let me show you. This is the original R in the BSN presentation. So let me show you again what that kind of looks like, and then we're going to go to a blank one because I need to clean up some things. So this is some of the nice things that you can do with Prezi. So think about that when, like I said, when you have to give a presentation instead of always using PowerPoint. And that's how a Prezi flows. Okay, so let's close out of that one, and let's close out of this one. Well, let's start a brand new Prezi. One of the really nice things about Prezi is that they have templates that you can use to actually start your Prezi. And if I were you, for those who haven't used it before and if you just want to try it, I would start with a template. So I'm going to go to More, and let's say you can scroll down and you can select a template that you think will work for you. So let's try this template. Let's go with combustion. I'm going to select here. I'm going to use template. Okay, now honestly, I will be honest with you. I do not like this color. This color is not working for me. Sometimes Prezi could get some outrageous colors. So I want to use a color. Think about your audience. And that's always something I always recommend. Think about your audience, and you want to use colors that are going to be appealing. So I'm going to go to Customize. And as you see, once I selected Customize, I got the little link over here, and I could change my color. So let's make it another color. Okay, so that's somewhat more appealing. What about Glacier? Okay, so we can kind of work with Glacier. What about coffee? Okay, so let's try coffee. Or we can always do clear. All right, so I'm going to go with clear. So now this is what you do to add content. I'm going to come here, close out of this. So I want to add content. So I'm just going to type my name, and it works, like I said, just like Word. And this is global. Let's do global nursing. I don't want this here. So what I want to do, I'm going to grab this. I actually have to grab from the right. I want to shrink that. And I want to move it. I want that to come up here. And I want to shrink it just a tad. So I want it to go there. And this is not part of this path. So I need to add that to my path. And I'll show you what I mean when I say add to path. So you can just start typing your text. I'm just going to zoom in so we can see. And this is global nursing. And I'm going to say, let's say agenda. I'm just going to type in text so you can just see agenda. And I'm going to come over here. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. I see how they have that listed. So this is number 2. And let's go to number 3. And I'm just going to type here. I'm just going to type something. This is going to be part 2. And remember, you can change your text. You can change your colors, you can make it, you can be very flexible. That's one of the nice things that I do like about Prezi. Of course, you do want to make sure you keep colors that are going to work. Okay, so that's not going to work. Let's go back and make sure we just stick with black. All right, or deep blue. All right, so that might work. And I'm going to say, I don't know, diabetes. That's going to go there. Since we have a template, I'm also going to use this. Okay, now let's see. I'm hearing. Okay, hearing some feedback. So let me do this right quick, guys. I'm just gonna go in and just okay. So I was getting some feedback. All right. So that's number 2. So now I've got number 2 in, and now I'm going to go to number 4. So use the menu over here to get to your slides. And guess what? You don't have to use all of these slides. You can delete some. And I'm going to say this is part 3. And we're going to highlight it. We're going to change it to that color, make it consistent. Because you do want to keep in the frame of mind, you do want it to be consistent, just like it was with PowerPoint. The only difference between this and PowerPoint is that this has that zooming functionality, and you can add a video. So let's say now I want to add a YouTube video. So let me show you how to do that. So I always recommend you go to YouTube and you find a video. So I'm going to search for a global nursing video. Let's see if I can find a global nursing. Okay, so good. So we have global from Gene Watson. I'm going to make the assumption that this is your nursing theorist, Gene Watson. And so I want to share this video. So when you want to upload a video into Prezi, this is where you need to go. You need to come here, get this share link, and this is the link we want. So I'm going to do a Control-C. I'm going to Control-C because I want to copy this link into my Prezi. I don't need to embed because we're not doing a website or anything. We're just going to take the link and put it in our Prezi. I'm going to go to Share, get this link, Control-C. Now I'm going to go to my Prezi, and I'm going to actually, all right, so I want to delete this part right here. So I'm going to highlight that. I want to delete that. I'm going to hit Insert, and I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to do Control-V. And I'm going to insert my link right here. And voila, that's our little Prezi. That's our YouTube video. See how nice and easy? And here's a suggestion. Let's say you want to link, I don't know, you want to put a link to a web page. I want to put a link to a web page. Instead of just having, and let me show you what I mean by that. Instead of just having a link, I'm going to Control-V, let's go back here. Instead of me just putting a link here, I always recommend, because you can just hit and do a link. That looks hideous. You don't want to just have a plain link in there because that just, and I do see your question, Sheila, and I can show you how to do that. You just don't have that link because this is just hideous. Well, this is what I would do. If you want to, I'm going to delete that. Type in the word. I'm going to do WSSU. And I want to take this. And I want to just highlight that, make that. So now I want to put in my link. So I'm going to highlight this. Oh, it's Gesundheit. Let me see. Let's do this. I want to do that. All right. So let me just type in WSSU. And I want to insert my link here. It's not being very, here we go. All right, so let me try it again. All right, so now let me highlight, and I want to insert my link. Where is it? I want to insert, stop that. All right, so let's see here. For some reason, it's not, I do not like that. Why is it not letting? Hold on for me. The YouTube link, I don't want to do that. And as you can see, you can add background music. Okay, well, maybe they changed it because there was a place where you could just type in a word. In particular, I really don't like links in Prezi like this. However, it looks like they changed it where you could just add a word and hyperlink your link, but I don't see it. This is not the worst, but I am not a fan of this. What it does in show mode, it will automatically go to the link, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, so now remember, I'm going to scroll out. Okay, so we added a couple of things here in our Prezi. Now I need to edit my path because I need to tell the Prezi the direction I want it to go. And remember, we added this and we added some other things. So first, let's come here to edit path. And you see how it automatically numbers it for you? Well, guess what? I don't like their numbering because I added some things. So what I'm going to do is come here and says clear all because I want to clear my path. Well, actually, no, let's not. Don't do that. Please don't do that because then you'll delete everything. We don't want to do that. I want to take out my path. All right, so let's do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to come in. I want to take this one out. I don't want that one. And let me go back here. I just want to change some things. So instead of deleting, all you have to do, I know I don't want that one. I'm going to take that one out. I'm going to take that one out. I am going to click here because I want that to be number 1. However, this is how I make it number 1. Grab it and drag it all the way to the top. And it's going to highlight it for me. See how it automatically changed? That's number 1. I really would like my YouTube video to be number 2. So I'm going to change it and make it number 2. And I want this one to be number 3. And everything else can stay the same. So when you are done editing your path, you just click here to turn it off. So now let's view the presentation. So I'm going to hit present. And we're going to view everything. And you just hit play. And I'm done with that. And now I want to come here because that's what I told it to do. So you get the gist of how you can use Prezi. It is a really fun tool to use, and I promise you, once you experiment with it, I think you'll like it. To me, it's a lot more fun than just plain PowerPoint. So I did want to show that that is something you could definitely use in your workplace. And when you have to give presentations, think about using a Prezi instead of just plopping everything in a PowerPoint. So now that is really all I have. And Sheila, I do see what you're asking, so that's not a problem. Do you all have any other questions for me? And let me make sure I got I unmute everybody. So any other questions? So now before you, and you could put your response in the chat box. Now before you all leave, if you would do me a huge favor, I'm going to put this in the chat box. If you all would, select that link. And I'll complete the assessment for me. So if you would do that, but that's it if you all don't have any questions. It was a quick refresher and answer any questions about citing and everything else.
Ms. Livas, I wasn't sure what to do with the chat box.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, go ahead.
I wasn't sure what to do, what you just asked us to do with the chat box. I'm on the chat box, but I don't.
Oh, okay. If you would scroll in, there is an assessment. If you see this link, I'd like for you to select that link. If you scroll down for me.
Okay.
And let me know if you see a link that has WSSU LibGuides in it.
What about for the people who are on the phone?
Oh, don't worry. For those who are on the phone, it is being recorded. So and it takes about a good 15 minutes, but I'm going to have the recording of what I did in your Blackboard shell in the morning.
Okay.
So if you were on the phone, no worries. I know you could hear everything, you just couldn't see it, but don't worry. I am recording the entire session, and you will be able to see it, and I'm going to render it and have it ready for you by in the morning.
Perfect.
Now, Linda, were you able to find that link?
No, I wasn't. I'm on the control panel.
Oh, okay. So this is what you. So this is what you do. Go ahead and look in that chat box.
Okay.
And then scroll. I would say, if you scroll down, it was at 7:09 is when I posted it. And there is a link that says HTTP WSSU LibGuides. Select that link, and hopefully it will open up. And then complete the assessment for me.
Okay, I think I see assessment, so just click on that.
Just click on that, and the assessment should come up.
Okay.
And just complete it and hit submit, and then it will be good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for attending the session. And like I said, I will have the video ready. And then for those who are on the phone, don't worry, you'll be able to see it as well.
Thank you. If we don't do the assessment, is that okay?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you can. Well, for those, no, if you don't, that's fine.
On the phone?
Yeah,
okay.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
But it is in the research guide.
Okay.
So when it is in the research guide. So if you go to the research guide, you'll see the tab for assessment. But thank you so much for attending.
Ms. Livas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is our WSSU email address, is it like your name, 114 at Rams?
Absolutely. That is it. Yep.
At Rams.
And so it's at rams.wssu.edu.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
You're welcome. Thank you for attending.
You were fantastic. Thanks.
I hope you guys found this to be useful. So, yes, I hope you did.
We did.
Good deal.